Well, hello, everybody. It's been a long time, and we are back with 1019, the Watch Commander. And we have a special guest tonight. Dale Hedges is here, and he's got a book that you guys want to find out about. We got some good stories and all kinds of stuff for you. So, Mike, what's happening?
I don't know. Something's going on here. Hold on. There. Okay, I'm back. Nothing. You know what? It has been a long time, and it's. I'm glad we're back at least for today. We got to talk about our schedule coming up, but things are good. It's good to see folks anxiously awaiting the show.
Anxiously awaiting the show. And Dale, how are you? It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to have me back.
We were thinking about it, and then Mike said he felt sorry for you, and
yeah.
and he talked to GJ, and dude, go ahead.
GJ gave you the thumbs up, man. So there we are. Hey, there's P. P at the top. Hola, P.
Look, I just want to slay for. I want to slay for.
You want to slay what?
Zippy's here, and GJ. It's been 2 weeks. He forgot how to watch a show, and we should. You know what? I feel bad. And David Elsess is here.
Hola.
We need. You know what? We always need a troublemaker. Like Dave, and then GJ's in here too. So I think we should be kind of good to go there. Mark Slater in the house.
Marcus.
And Juno Wilson is here. And oh no, we have to share Dave with postseason hockey. And look who Paula is here.
Hola, Paula.
Hola. Pat Roman's here. I saw Pat yesterday. And one of the other podcasts, Things Police See podcasts that we do. So I saw Pat in there and hung out with him for a minute. So we have stuff going on, and there's a lot of news stories that we're going to be talking about. And so before we get started, what's up, Mike?
I got nothing. Hey, FPK.
BK.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah. You got nothing?
Yeah. I got nothing.
Well, then you're boring.
What?
What about Dale? Dale, how have you been doing, man?
I've been doing great, tagging along behind Mike.
You know, before we get started here, I just want to
that didn't sound right. Go ahead.
Well, not that close to Mike, but
okay.
tagging along behind Mike.
Freaking me out.
If you guys don't know already, Dale's got a book called Damage Control by Dale Hedges. And what you can do real quickly, you can go to this QR code. You can take a picture of it, and then iPhone does its. I don't know if it's on the Google too, but on the what are the Google phones called? I can't remember. Anyways,
Androids.
But you should be able to take a photo of that QR code, go straight to Amazon, or you can just Google Damage Control by Happy Hedges on Amazon. And how are the book sales going? Everything going good there, Dale?
Yeah, sales are actually steady, and I've got people contacting me I don't even know about the book. I do have a number of books here still. I keep getting people asking for signed copies, so I ordered more signed copies. So if anybody wants a signed copy, it's the same price, just a little shipping charge, but they can email me if they want to.
Yeah. Hey, Dale, give them that email address, because I was going to bring that up. You know, they can get an autograph copy for the same price that they would get from Amazon, touched by your sweaty fingers. So how should they get in contact with you?
It's pretty simple. It's Hedges Dale. Just reverse it. hedgesdale@yahoo.com.
And they can spam you there? I mean, email you there?
Yeah,
whatever. Right?
You can contact me there, and we'll work out getting them a copy.
Well, the cool thing is, I didn't know that this studio does this, but somebody clicked on the on the QR code, and I got it. Did you see the notification?
I saw that. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So sold a book right here online. Awesome.
Everybody pick up your phone and start scanning that QR code.
Scanning that QR code, man. So we got some stories going on here, and we want to get right to those. I hope everybody's doing well. Chat.
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
Oh, there you are. You're back.
It's doing better. Mike, you know what? I'm so excited. A year from now, I'm going to be able to sign up for fiber a year from now.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that a year from now you get to vote for sheriff. That'd be pretty cool too, but you're in the wrong state. So
I'm in the wrong state.
Yeah,
I voted for a sheriff, but not in LA County. So, yeah. But it's slow going, with trying to get fiber out here. But Starlink, and you're using Starlink too right now, but you never cut out. You must have a clear sky view.
Well, I'm up in the middle of nowhere, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I got some tall trees that kind of every once in a while, and then I mean, Starlink's great for streaming stuff, movies, and all that kind of stuff, but for live streaming like we're doing here, it's not the best because when the satellites decide to hand each other off, and you're like a millisecond off, you disappear.
No, that's crazy. Hey, Dave Elsass hit on one of the topics I think we're going to talk about real quick. You want to throw him up there?
Throw Dave Elsass up there?
Throw Dave up there, man.
Hang on just a sec. Let me see here.
Not the newer router one, the one about snapping your fingers or tapping your heels together 3 times.
Wait a minute. So what's going on here? This just happened, what, 2 days ago? Yesterday? What?
Yeah. Apparently he was at some conservative GOP shindig in Inland Empire. And I was curious as to why they had him on as one of the speakers, because he's a well-known, longtime Democrat. And he got up there and flipped the script on him and said that, as Dave says, he 2 snaps up, and he decided he's no longer a member of the Democratic Party. I don't actually see this as a surprise if you think about it. He's pretty strategic that way, and my guess is he's eyeballing some other run for something somewhere based on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's anybody else have anything to say about that? Dale, what do you think?
I don't know. I saw him on Fox tonight for a few minutes, and he's not saying anything other than he switched parties, which that's a good thing. I can't say anything negative about that, but I'm curious about where he's going to go. I'm wondering if he's aiming towards Board of Supervisors. I had a chat with Mike earlier. We were throwing out different possibilities. I don't know what he's planning.
Well, my guess is he's probably enjoying that people are throwing out possibilities. What Dave says aside, I think that one thing he's a strategic guy. I do know that the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, is very vulnerable right now. Maybe he's looking at something bigger. Pat, I don't know. I don't think he can run for Riverside Sheriff unless he moves to Riverside. Yeah, Grant. Yeah, he got smoked when he ran against a Han. And you can't beat a Han in a Han neighborhood. Yeah, so that's his last 2 elections. He's lost, and maybe he's decided. I mean, why else would he come out, right? If he's just going to be Joe Blow's citizen, what does it matter what his party is? Why would he go up to a Republican Party and say he's changing? So obviously there's something afoot, and I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what he does.
So was this a surprise to anybody?
Not me.
It was, I don't think it was necessarily expected, but it isn't necessarily a surprise either. I think, I just call it like it is. I mean, the Democratic Party will not do anything to support him for anything he does. They feel like they were betrayed when he became sheriff. And where else is he going to go?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Paula. Well, you know what? I guess you're right. So what's he going to do, governor or the BOS? I'm sure there's a couple of. Well, no, he'd have to run against Hahn again, right? Because he lives in Hahn's district. So I don't know. But he uh, he gave the Democratic Party one of these, and they've given him one of these. Um, you know, they're a large part of what's going on in LA County. So we'll see what he's got planned.
But there's he was at a conservative. He announced it at a conservative gathering.
Yeah. It was. I mean, Riley Gaines was there. I wish I'd have been there because I'd like to meet Riley Gaines. I think she's pretty cool. And Larry Elder was there. I'd like to have gone there because Larry Elder's pretty cool. So, it's conservative thought, Republican group. And I was pretty surprised that why would they have him be one of their speakers unless something was up, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering, is that they seem to be embracing him right away. And so there's something going on in the background that we're not. And if who was it? FPK said probably governor. So I would think that the conservatives are backing Bianco, wouldn't they?
Well, Steve Hilton jumped into it too, and he's a well-known Fox TV personality. I think Bianco has the momentum right now. I don't know what the polling looks like, but you know what? Who knows? Who knows?
As far as
well, yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say, as far as the conservative party go, this gathering was an Inland Empire gathering, correct?
Yes,
and that's Bianco's home turf.
that's true. I like I said, I guess I don't know what the polling's like. And Dave, I don't know what to hit you up about. Maybe I missed something there.
My curiosity. I mean, they may just be jumping him onto the bandwagon right now because he's kind of high profile Democrat and he's making this change. I mean, if he's got other plans, he's keeping it pretty quiet. He's not letting loose with it. But my gut feeling was maybe after all the stuff he took from the board of supervisors that maybe he was going to try to take a run there. I mean, which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, he did take a run though, and he got smoked by Janice Hahn. And I don't know. I mean, beating a Hahn in a Hahn district, man, that's something else. Now, if she terms out, that's a different story. But you start thinking about statewide. I mean, there's congressional seats coming up, Senate seats are going to be coming up. I get the sense he's probably aiming beyond like LA County Sheriff run again because he's been there and he's done that. But I guess we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if he could get the support that he needs to go and run for LA County Sheriff again after everything that's happened. And
we've talked about that ad infinitum. I think he burned a lot of bridges, and I don't know where he would get his support from. The Democratic Party's not going to touch him. And like if I was running for sheriff, I don't think I'd be really pushing that hard my political leanings because, I'm a lifetime Republican. I've been one for 50 years, I think, probably longer than a lot of people on this show have been alive. But it doesn't matter what your political party is, right? You're just going to enforce the law down the middle. It's nonpartisan for a reason. You don't answer the phone 911. What's your political party? It's what's your emergency, and that's why I kind of think he's aiming beyond that because, like I said, he's a pretty strategic guy, and I don't think you just lean heavily into conservative republicanism when you're trying to be the head law enforcement guy in the county, because you're supposed to appeal to everybody, you're supposed to help everybody, you're supposed to support and help be part of everyone in the community. and represent everyone. And by leaning into a party one way or the other, you're not doing that. So I kind of think he's going statewide, but we'll see.
And we got some comments here. FPK says maybe preparing for proposed Board of Supervisors expansion.
Yeah, isn't it? But isn't that like a couple of years off? I thought that was like 3 to 5 years away. Maybe I'm wrong. That would make sense. I mean, really. But someone Pat made a good point there too. It's something we'd have to talk about. It says you can't run for sheriff because the county put a do not rehire on him. But I'm not so sure that would matter if the people of LA County elected him. I think that would trump the do not hire.
I believe that would.
Yeah, Grant says he could run for Antelope Valley congressional seat that the Dems flipped in 2024. He doesn't need to live in the district to run. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't see him going for AV. I can see him maybe running for governor. Who knows? That would be interesting. I mean, but that puts 3 Republicans in the race, right? That's him and Bianco and Steve Hilton. So that would be everybody'd be chopping each other's votes up. Of course, I don't think the Dems have come up with anybody yet, have they?
For
to run for governor?
Oh, I don't know, man. I got. Yeah, the only name I've seen is what's her name? I can't.
No, not Kamala. Kamala, no.
That's the only one that I've seen.
They're throwing her name around. That's for sure.
Well, she gets tossed around, if you know what I mean. But no, there was somebody, former attorney general, maybe it wasn't Villaraigosa. Somebody has said they're running on the Democratic side, but it fizzled really quick. It just came and went. The news. Didn't mean much of anything. So I guess who knows? I'm sure he knows, but he's not talking right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Boom.
My computer was acting stupid, and then this story just came up on its own. Okay, fine.
Out of nowhere.
Here's the next story.
Yeah, hey, this is an interesting one. I mean, it goes into, LA County jail population is on the rise because of Prop 36 being to blame. I would say thanks to Prop 36, not blame Prop 36. The people were running rampant around here with all the BS crime and the cops not being able to do anything, and a crappy DA, and frankly, a relatively crappy sheriff that are not wanting to enforce the law. And now the cops actually have an opportunity to start pulling in some of this madness and getting rid of all the nonsense. And, this dovetails into Men's Central Jail and how they're talking about, hold on a second, I got to get rid of something. How they're trying to close down Men's Central Jail without a replacement. And it's like, how the heck do you do that? Where are you going to put all these crooks? There are people that are not amenable to care first. I'm sorry, but there are people that are lifelong gangsters. They live the gangster code. They live and die by gangsterism, and you have to have a replacement facility. And this article goes into it's a leftward tilted article, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like, oh, these poor inmates are living in bad conditions, and let's just close it down and send them home. There's a unit in there that's a SHU, special handling unit. It's got some of the worst murderous rat bastards on the planet. And what are you going to do with them? You have to have a facility to put them in. Oh, there it is. Pat's got it. Xavier Becerra is running for governor.
What?
Yeah, that's the one. But I said, that news came and went. It was like, so what?
What was he before? What was he in Biden's admin?
I don't know.
In his cabinet.
Some idiot.
Was he in charge of the border?
No, that was Kamala.
No, the cabinet member. Was that Becerra?
Oh, well, I know he went to the Biden administration, yeah.
I thought he was the border guy, but anyways, um,
Uh,
he's got these great. He comes up with some awesome comments here. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, people are asking, and this is probably one of the worst kept secrets in the county in the history of America, but it's just going to have to remain an unanswered question for now. I would recommend people tune in, though. I think if you're interested, follow me on social media. Captain Mike on X, and we'll see what's going. What
She
Paula says
Paula said
never.
Secretary of Health was
Oh,
Becerra, and then Human Services, Health and Human Services, and never. I'm thinking he's never going to be governor, or he's never going to run, or I don't know.
oh, yeah, that's what she means. Okay, he's never going to make it. Yeah, like I said, I mean, he shoots up this trial balloon and hoping people go, oh, Javier's going to be in the race. Oh my God, I can't wait. Oh. And it just went, whoop. It was up and it was down. Somebody shot a hole in it and it dropped. So, I think it's wide open on the Democrat side. Maybe Kamala's going to step into that spot.
Man,
That'd be good news for any of the Republicans running. That's for sure.
if Becerra ever ran for anything, I would play clip after clip 24/7 of him testifying before Congress. Is the border safe? Is the border secure? He fell flat on his face the whole time.
Well,
So,
the whole regime did.
yeah.
Thank you, Juno. Juno, do you live in LA County?
Thank you, Juno.
Yes, I could use your vote. Yeah.
We have this another story. It's a Mike story. And what happened here, Mike?
Holy cannoli. I'm just minding my own business, sipping my coffee in the morning, and thinking about what I'm going to do now that I woke up again. And I read the story that this divorce attorney isn't ready to call, okay, I'm ready for court. So instead of trying to get a delay, he murders his client. He murders his client because he didn't want to go to court.
And he chased her down and stabbed her.
Mm-hmm.
Because murdering your client is so much less embarrassing than not being prepared for court.
Right. And someone pointed out, I think that is witness tampering.
I'm sure it's against the law.
Yeah, well, he was an attorney, but there's oh, hi Tracy. There's got to be more to this story. I pray. I just like, he gets up and he's like, well, see, he didn't want to say sorry, I'm late, like Tracy did. So instead of saying he was late, he chased her down and he stabbed her to death. It's like, and the soon to be ex-husband probably feels like he hit the jackpot, right? I don't know, but it's like,
it's beyond bizarre because he wanted to incapacitate her. So I'm thinking taking someone's life is pretty incapacitating.
Yeah.
So her divorce case wouldn't go to trial as scheduled. What the heck?
Cahoga County. Yeah, that is. It's like instead of doing the old thing where who was the girl that cracked the other one's knee so she couldn't skate? Remember that group?
Oh, Tanya
Hardin and I
can't remember the other one.
Yeah, the other girl. Why me? Why me? So instead of kneecapping her, he went a little too far. Yeah.
This is really bizarre. I mean, he's got it. I didn't see anything in the article about he's like claiming crazy or something like that. But wow, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
So Nancy Kerrigan.
Nancy Kerrigan. You know what? Grant is kind of like the answer man. If you go back to everything that he's written, it's Tracy, you're a day late and $1 short.
Tracy, we talked about this like 20 minutes ago, but I just want to put that. Yeah.
Oh man, if you hadn't been late to the game, you would not be feeling the shame.
So this is an important question. I'll have to ask an attorney. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. That attorney-client privilege is pretty rock solid with her right now. So,
For
don't know.
sure, man.
And maybe if you know what, maybe he feels like since he had to put out some effort and chase her down, that he had earned that retainer.
Yeah. He's gonna have to say he's crazy, right?
I,
Because this is just too bizarre. This too
well,
bizarre.
you know what? It almost makes you think that there was something else going on in the background. You know, like were they doing the whoopee or something, and she was going to rat him off, or she was going to, you know, get her husband that was going to get divorced to kill him, and who knows? I mean, it seems really, really random to go out and murder your client because you didn't want to go to court.
Let's see here. What we're talking about Alex again. He really didn't though, and did a shout out to California Purple Future. Purple.
Yeah, that's kind of shooting low though. I think I'd just go for the red. But again, and here we are again with what was being said. It's got, you don't want to lean into one party one way or the other. You know, you right down the middle. Not sure if you heard this. Evidently, the LA power brokers believe Luna cannot win re-election and may put him in as chief of police for MTA. I heard that was that kind of fizzled. You know, they won't do that because maybe they they won't do that. I understand there's a national search going on. I understand they've got somebody from back east or some crazy place that they're talking about putting there. And you know, he had some competition because Alex applied for that job too, right?
For the
LA
MTA
Metro.
police?
Yeah, MTA Metro, yeah.
Wow, that sounds like California, Mark. California, they just what were they doing with the sex trafficking that you could buy? You couldn't buy somebody 8, what was it, 17 and under or something like that, but
No, you don't buy them, you rent them.
what was it that the Democrats wanted to strike the 18 and under, 18 and 17 or something like that?
Yeah, I think they want something about a felony or not a felony if they're like 16, 17 or something. What the Democrats also just what they were voting to try to make it so welfare fraud's not illegal if it's 25,000 or less. It's like you just the nonsense. You know, they must lay awake at night in little groups of heroin infested, chambers, and in these dreams of craziness. I think I'm going to ride a unicorn to court, and I'm going to say that it's not illegal to kill people. And then they write it up and they send it in. And they get one or two of their drugged out friends to agree with them, and then here it is.
Yeah.
Crazy. What is Dave talking about with Tulsi? I love Tulsi. What's going on?
He said Tulsi Gabbard like it. Tulsi Gabbard like it.
He didn't really.
Tulsa. That's different than Tulsi Gabbard, but then he.
Oh, Tulsa. I see there.
Tulsa Gabbard.
Okay. He corrected it.
He did.
What did Tulsi do, man? Tell me. I love Tulsi Gabbard.
I think he's saying she liked that.
What did she like?
Alex is a Republican now.
Well, they're all going to say that, obviously.
I just want to mention.
But why is he so late to the rodeo? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
Paul is here, and if Paula doesn't say it, it didn't happen. Okay, so whatever every comment Paula makes tonight, I'm going to post it because that's how you know it's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, blame the phone. That's probably what that lawyer's going to do.
Right.
In his trial. It was the phone. Whatever.
Yeah, it was the phone.
Well, look at Tracy saying about the Board of Supervisors. It was honest people. We're talking politics here still, correct? Politicians.
Man, I'll tell you. They each have a little slice of the pie, right? And they all have to do what they can for their constituency, and each group is going to be a little different. But man, some of the craziness that goes. Well, let's put it this way. I think the people of California are going to speak pretty loudly. I think they're tired of the nonsense and the dysfunction that's been going on.
Yes, true that.
You can make some of it up, Mike. I think they sit around and try to outdo each other with stupid ideas.
Oh,
maybe they get bonuses for screwing the few citizens that are left in in California.
So they get a bonehead bonus if they strike gold by getting something through, right?
Yeah, something really.
It's just, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're just the insanity of the stuff that they're doing. I guess that's what happens when you have a super majority and nobody can really go against you. It's like, let's see how crazy we can be this week. Yeah. And man, they do. They come up with some of the craziest shit. Oh yeah, I like FPKs too. You know, they said that domestic violence is a nonviolent crime, even though violence is in the title. It's
Yeah.
like that's an oxymoron or something like that. I just
Yeah, you know,
it's indicative of how they are.
these Democrats, they come up with these laws. It's like the super billionaire that's I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. Let me buy a fur-lined sink or something stupid because they have so much money. And so the Democrats have so much power in Sacramento that they think, here's something cool. Let me write a bill about that. You know, and it's just because it's so dumb.
Yep. They're gonna do a bill to block out the sun,
or fly to the sun,
or actually fly to the sun, or start charging us for the sunlight that we take in, like they want to start charging mileage when you drive a car, right?
Mike, they could be
Yeah.
listening. Next week, someone's going to introduce a bill. Is this? I was watching Charlie Kirk stir things up is that Antelope Valley or
Must be the Bay Area, maybe.
In the Bay Area.
Bro.
No, he's it's in capital AY. I'm not sure where that is. Where is that, Mark? In the area.
Amazon, Yukon. Mark, you're freaking me out, man.
What's going on, man? He's a pirate. So we got this.
That's R.
Oh, that's right. R. So we got another story. It's huge, and I've been waiting on.
Bay Area.
Bay Area.
Well, we don't know anything about it. Mark, fill us in.
Tracy, what is going on here?
Tracy,
I didn't want to comment on that.
I have a completely different view of you now, Tracy. What the?
Oh my goodness. What is this? If they get control over Men's Central Jail property, the county will put more homeless shelters on it for securing zoning votes. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Jeez. You can only do it at night. You've only got 12 hours to fly to the sun. This is
you could go right at sunset, I guess. Right?
This story that we want to bring up, I'm going to let Mike talk about this because to me this is pretty big. But what's the scoop?
That's big. That's probably the biggest news we've got here tonight, and I'm sure everybody that's watching or listening has been paying attention to the Trevor Kirk story. Unexpected wrinkle, in my opinion. I didn't think the U.S. Attorney's Office would come through like they did. But the new AUSA in the county of Los Angeles has filed. They've come to an agreement, I guess, with a plea deal, which drops the felony off the table, which I think is miraculous because, with a felony conviction, what do you do? How do you get a job and how do you move on in your life? But apparently they're offering him misdemeanor. I think he has to admit to some type of force. And they're also offering the opportunity for probation. So that would be pretty cool. I mean, misdemeanor, probation, no jail time. But the biggest kink in this is the judge has to agree to it. So I think that May 19th date is going to be huge in the life of Trevor. And I guess we just have to wait and see. Now, it says here that the 4 U.S. attorneys who prosecuted the case withdrew from the case. They didn't sign the plea agreement, and they also apparently resigned this last Friday. And I personally am of the belief that they were probably given the opportunity to resign or we're going to fire you because there's a new sheriff in town named Donald J. Trump. And I don't think he appreciates federal government overreach. And this is an absolute overreach as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
This case, I mean, the way it's sorting out, this could have been handled at the department level with no problem. But, the weak sheriff wanted to make a political point with this kid and wanted to stand toe to toe with his shoulder to shoulder with his activist friends up there, and let us know exactly where he's coming from. And this should not have gotten to this point. And if this is something that Trevor's good with, then I'm good with it. I don't know if he's here tonight with us, but I wish him all the best. Yeah, you know what? FPK, I'm like, I'd fight, but man, what if you lose? What if the judge convicts you of the felony and he sentences you to 2 years in federal prison? It will take you years to clear your name if you can even do it after that. I mean, this, I guess we'd have to get inside Trevor's head to find out, but I think if this works for him, like I said, it works for me. But
the problem is that's not guaranteed. The judge
Right.
can still wipe this all away, and
Yep.
I mean it's a risk for Trevor. I don't know Trevor, but I can certainly appreciate where he's at. I mean, I've been through the ringer with the department. I'm shocked that the sheriff, I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but I'm shocked that the sheriff would have had anything to do with referring this. I just unbelievable to me. But seriously, I'll be praying for this one. But I hope the judge adheres to the agreement and doesn't turn around and spank this kid anyway.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the sheriff goes, I think, he was, I'll characterize it as being very disingenuous with what he says about how this happened and how it ended up with the feds. I mean, he took one step after another. He goes, I didn't have anything to do with that. But, once the case happened, I was required to notify the Fed monitor up there. And it's like, really? Do you have every use of force that you refer to the Fed monitor up there? No.
Yeah.
And he says he didn't notify the Fed. Well, the first thing he did was notify the Fed. And then he said that he had to notify the COC, the Inspector General, all 5 of the Board of Supervisors, the mayor of Lancaster, all the politicians up there, and all of the community leaders, whoever the heck those are. And also that same week, he referred another case from Palmdale to the FBI. And he's telling us with all of that information that it didn't slip out that Trevor Kirk had a case too. I think it's, like I said, I'm being generous saying disingenuous. I think he's lying. I think he's covering up what he did, and he realizes that he made a big fat mistake, and it's too late for him. I think I personally think Luna's vulnerable, and I hope somebody takes him down in this next election. He needs to go. They need someone there who's going to not only protect the public but protect his own people.
Look, Luna has done nothing, in my opinion, as an outsider, retired guy, but just show he's just incompetent. And on top of that, when it comes to this thing with Trevor, he absolutely lied. I mean, he lied to everybody. He may as well have tried to tell us that the border was secure in 2024. I mean, it was that big a lie. Everybody knows that he's full of fucking shit. Excuse my French, but
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to be where he's at.
Well, and you think about this too. I mean, it's rare to get deputies throughout the county to agree on anything because they all come from different stations and realities. But look how many of them boycotted him at the Baker to Vegas run. He ends up with 5 teams out of 25 or 30 that usually run. That to me was a resounding vote of no confidence, even though the I understand the unions don't really get into that because it's hard to get, a vote like that through. But to me, that was a huge vote of no confidence for him. And he should be ashamed. He should hang his head, but all he does is now he's obviously in campaign mode. You see his face everywhere. It's like, waving at the taco truck, waving at the donut shop, waving at the hamburger place. And it's nauseating to even see him in a sheriff's department uniform.
This is why the people
What?
in LA County need to wake up. When they vote for a sheriff, they need to vote for an insider, somebody familiar with a 12,000 or 9,000, whatever it is right now, member department, somebody familiar with all the ins and outs of the different divisions and things that are going on in that department, instead of taking some basically jackass guy that came from a 1,200 person PD and electing them to run the sheriff's department that he knows nothing about. He has no connections to, he doesn't care about. All he cares about is his position.
He wants to look good.
This has been a problem with the department since Baca left, really. These outsiders coming in.
Luna is risk adverse. He doesn't want to do anything that's going to risk his standing. And, he comes from an agency, I think, with like 600 sworn. And LA County Sheriff's Department has about 18,000 employees. I think it's 17.5 right now. He was out of his depth when he walked in, and he's just sinking lower in the mud every day. I mean, how is he going to be able to get a grip just on the custody operation? How's he going to do that with no insider understanding or knowledge? And then you add on to that, all the contract cities, or there's 42 contract cities. It's an incredible learning curve, and I'm afraid that he's probably just about failing at all of it. And I think he knows it. And I think the people of LA County are already waking up thanks to the fires that were more tragic than they needed to have been.
What's Pat talking about here? Chief Neer.
Oh, I don't remember the whole specific behind it, but Kinnear, I think it's Kneer.
Kinnear.
Kinnear was up there at the time, and he was also doing a happy dance about how horrible this was and everything. A white deputy beating up a black lady, and it's Pat might have more info on it than I do, but I know he was just another one of those voices that didn't really use common sense. This case initially was looked at the station level, like all cases like that are. The sergeant looked at it and deemed it appropriate. It went through the necessary station level reviews, and everything was in policy. And all of a sudden, Luna started taking heat from a couple of the activist groups up there, and he folded like a cheap suit. Threw this kid under the bus, just like he threw the kid from Palmdale under the bus. And like I said, both those happened in the same week, and he acknowledges referring one, but lies about not, I didn't refer that other one. How did that happen? With all of the crap that he did and all the people he notified. Shame on him. And I think the people of LA County are recognizing that. I think that you remember right after the fire, they're interviewing people from Malibu, Palisades, Altadena. Man, they are hot. They are hot. Pardon the pun. They are pissed off about what they see is this lack of care coming from their Democratic overlords. I think that I think there's a poll out recently that said, like, I think right now 40% of the people would actually vote for a Republican governor. That's unheard of. But I hope that the heat stays on people like Karen Bass and Robert Luna for this next year, and continues to highlight just how horrible their leadership is, or lack of leadership. Oh, put that back up. I want to read that. Yep, absolutely. I understand that there's a culture now, a culture of climbers. that care more about the next bump than they do about the people below them. And that is a sign of an organization that is completely off the hook, out of control, and rudderless.
Mm-hmm. And then this is Kinnear. Kinnear did the investigating on Trevor and filed the paperwork to Luna, even though some other chiefs disagreed. Kinnear then goes IOD.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he was kind of like Lord Voldemort in all of this, and he handed everything to Luna so Luna could flip the switch and get this kid flushed. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there.
So I got a story that just I thought it was the best story ever. FBI demotes agents who took a knee during BLM protests in 2020. Um, and you could see the young lady there in the front. She's just smiling for the camera, just smiling at this, at taking the knee, and all those FBI agents. And that says at least 4 of the kneelers were reassigned to positions widely viewed as demotions, according to the Washington Post. What do you guys think? Do you think all these chiefs and deputy chiefs all did the kneeling? And
You know what? There's figurative kneeling and there's the literal kneel. And again, I mean, cops are supposed to be neutral. You're supposed to be the one that keeps the peace and order. You do not kowtow one way or the other. And by taking the knee like that, you've slipped into politics. It's political bullshit. And, I know that there's people that others think, oh, it's okay. He did that, because he's a good guy. No, he's not. Not if he did that. Not if he caved. That's like people are asking me, Mike, if you run for sheriff, you're a Republican. Would you become independent or a Democrat? I'm like, why would I do that? Why? Because Democrats won't support you. And it's like, so the first thing I'm going to do is kowtow to them and take a knee and say, oh, I'm sorry. Will you please support me? It again comes back down to it's apolitical. I mean, you
You'd
need,
simply be showing weakness.
yeah, you need to be judged by how you lead law enforcement personnel, not how you kowtow to outside groups or political pressure. That the big thing is, do not give in to political pressure.
yeah,
Yeah, I know Bianco. I've got mixed feelings about that too. I don't know what his reasoning was behind that, but if it's to diffuse something, how about just standing your ground and being a professional law enforcement officer and not doing the political thing? And that to me was political expediency. When you take a knee like that, it lets everybody know, look at all those weak cops right there. They all just gave in. They bent the knee. Why would you do that? That would be like ordering everybody on the other side, before we can get out of here, you guys all got to bend the knee to us. No, they're not going to do that. Why
no,
would law enforcement do that?
how humiliating. And there's a lot of these photos where they're taking the knee
Yeah.
like this, and the people in the background, the black officers were standing. There's a lot of black officers that were standing, not taking a knee, and it's humiliating and it's embarrassing, and there's really no excuse for it. And at the end of the day, when they got done kneeling, and they go, "Okay, we all kneeled for you, and we talked to you, in this kumbaya circle," and then afterwards, when the protest began at the same locations, then those same people were throwing rocks and bottles at the cops.
Sure they were.
So it
Sure
did
they were.
nothing.
Right now, I mean, they're throwing figurative rocks and bottles because all those people just gave up.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I learned, man. If you're too nice to people, they're going to see it as weakness. And as a cop, as a law enforcement officer who's sworn to uphold the law, you cannot be seen as being weak in times of trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can act like they're strong when things are good and you got a piece of cake in your hand. But when the rubber meets the road, push comes to shove. You're in a formation there, a platoon formation. You got a shield and a helmet on. And somebody hits you on the head with a rock. That's when you find out who you really are. Do you kneel? Do you roll over and show your underbelly, or do you stand tall for law enforcement?
Yeah. I don't know.
Pretty
I don't know
easy.
how they work that out in their minds.
I don't know. I would bet a lot of it had to do with fear and not wanting to face the consequences of maybe having, getting bum rushed and maybe getting your ass kicked.
Yep. And here we are coming up to political season, and the elections are coming up, and all these chiefs and sheriffs and things like that. Where are they today? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about them. They're not a household name. They're not on anybody's radar. And the people that supported BLM, they're all in the wind.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of weak sisters that were leaders, alleged, supposed leaders in law enforcement. There's Bob.
Bob.
Good to see you, Bob. Hey, I want you and GJ on the show, brother. It's going to be a wonderful time.
Hey, there's Julie Cussiter, the wife of Dan Cussiter, for anybody that knew, a great guy.
Well, yeah, I'm not familiar with the name. What?
Hi, Julie.
Dan worked. He was a Firestone guy. Worked SEB. Julie was one of my recruits when I worked Advanced Training Bureau. Great guy.
Well, welcome, Julie. Yeah, so that's basically that one.
You know what? Hold on. I actually have a piece of paper in my hand. That was something I was working on.
What?
In my other life, things that are going on in the future here. This is a quote from Sir Robert Peel. He was like the father of modern policing, and he's got 9 principles of policing. I'm going to read number 5. It's exactly what we're talking about. Police seek and preserve public favor, not by catering to the public opinion, but by constantly demonstrating absolute impartial service to the law. Period. If I was holding a mic, I'd drop it right now, because that's exactly what it is. You don't play politics in law enforcement. You don't take sides one way or the other. It's fairly, consistently across the board, no favor, no punishment unequal to the crime. It's just follow the freaking law. Can you imagine if everybody followed the freaking law, how peaceful things would be right now?
Well, Mike, you certainly don't concede in the face of maybe getting your ass kicked a little bit out there. I mean, that's when you stand up and get stronger, and you know that while you may be getting your ass kicked, like I told
hey, tell us that story. Don't shortstop that. Tell us a story. Start from beginning to end. Tell us about that.
You want to hear the whole story?
Well, it's not that long, is it? I mean,
no. Okay. I had a trainee at Firestone, maybe 1981 or so. Only out in the field a day or two, actually. We stopped a car down by Jordan Downs housing project. We were shaking a car down there. He's standing there, and a car drove past us doing probably 90, and I heard another unit light up the sirens, and they went in pursuit. Mark Wolf and Rick Blevins. So I had the trainee jump back in our car. We took off. We were the second person in the pursuit, and it was going down south, deeper into South Central, actually far enough down that I don't know that I had been down in that particular area before, but we were behind the car putting out the pursuit, and the car crashes. 2 guys jump out of the car. Mark and Rick jump out of their car, and the fight's on in the middle of the street. And as we're pulling up, people were coming out of their houses. It was like an ant colony, without any joke. There were, I don't even know how many people, but they were coming out, and they were pissed and surrounding the deputies, trying to get involved. And I told the trainee, I said, I put out a 997, and I could hear units rolling right away from Linwood, Firestone, even Lennox, Carson. Everybody started rolling up there. But I told the trainee, get out of the car, get your baton. Don't let anybody touch those deputies, no matter what. And he looked at me. He was kind of shocked, and he looked at me and he said, yeah, but we're going to get our ass kicked. And I said, yeah, that might be. We might get our asses kicked, but You hear the radio? I said, payback's coming. So right now, our job is to keep people away from those two deputies. And I jumped out of the car and I ran, and shit, we were taking literally whatever trash people could pick up and throw at us. And I'm swinging batons and hitting people, and units start rolling up, and we get this whole thing under control. We hook a bunch of people up, and the guys in the car get hooked up. I start looking around for my trainee. I can't find him. And I start looking, and I walk back to my radio car. He's sitting in the front seat.
What?
Radio car. He's still sitting there. I said, what the hell are you doing in the car? And he said, oh, well, I was listening to the radio. I was monitoring the radio just in case we needed to get somebody here.
Wow.
I got flat out pissed. I mean, I got hit with all kinds of shit. I didn't quite get my ass kicked, but it wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
I took him back to the station, wrote a half sheet memo, told him to go put his gun and stuff up in the locker, and he was gone the next day.
That's cowardice.
That's exactly what I called it. And then I don't know what happened to him after that, but I had actually Jerry Taylor, a guy named Jerry Taylor working narco, tell me that they hit a house in East LA, a drug house. And as they were going through the house, they kicked open a door in a bedroom. And this guy was in the bed and with some hooker. And as soon as they kicked in the door, he held up a flat badge and ID and told him he was a deputy. So how he kept his flat badge and ID, I have no idea, but he ended up going to jail. But
it was real.
Yeah, but the point is, these things happen. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of an ass whooping, but you never take a knee.
No,
never take a knee. When they did that, when LASD did that, I can't even tell you how it made me feel. I didn't think I would ever see that. And I worked with guys, some of the old heads at Firestone, prior to Mike getting there. They would have never put up with that ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'd have probably drug you out somewhere and kicked your ass before they took you to the station. But you never take a knee ever.
Mm.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out. Chris Patterson's joining us from Scotland. So
coolio.
Probably they came to see you, Mike.
Yeah. And, can you vote in LA County, Chris? Will you vote in LA County?
Let's see. Without even reading it, I'm going to post GJ's comment. I could have been Dale's trainee, but I picked the wrong 3 letters and wound up close to home. Sadness overwhelms me.
That guy.
This last story, I want to prime people for it. This is true. This is absolutely true. 100% this story. It says from Wallet Hub, it says California ranked number 1 for the second year in a row, followed by Connecticut, Illinois, to be the best state for police officer.
Is that out of Mad Magazine or what?
It's true. It's 100% true. And they had 30 key metrics. Some of them are police friendliness. That screams California. Median law enforcement income, while they make $200,000 a year because it costs $200,000 a year to live in California. Police fatalities per 1,000 officers. The state has 40 million people in it. 40 million people, job hazards, and police protection per capita. Well, what do you guys think about that? California, number 1 state to be a cop.
Oh, I've been feeling that all along. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe that's true for California, but it's not true for LA County. That's for sure. People are leaving in droves. Dale, is that your family barking out there?
What's going on there, Dale?
You might be getting burglarized.
This is not very professional.
No, it's not very.
No.
Yeah, not very professional at all. But
Well, nobody comes in the house when I'm not here. I'll tell you
I
that.
got that right. Yeah.
Man, I got some pushback on this thing. Wallet Hub. I don't think I can trust them for coming up with these surveys and their metrics and things like that. But that's just nobody I talk to would say California is a go-to place. Everybody go to California
No.
to be a
You know
cop.
what? If you look at like what's going on with the sheriff's department, they can't recruit, hire, train, and retain enough people to even keep up for annual people leaving. So, they'll get on the job. We spend $150,000 training them. They stick around for a while and see how screwed up the department is, and they split and they go somewhere else. They take all that training and they go to some other agency somewhere. So, maybe the grass is greener outside LA County, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. And FPK, that's one of the things that they're citing, pay and benefits. But the only thing is that it costs a lot of money to live in California, so the pay is going to be up there. Benefits wise, I talked to a lot of police officers from all over, and like LASD and LAPD, you get your pension, you get your medical as a part of your pension. So for you and your spouse, and it's paid for. Not every agency has that, and so that's kind of a big deal.
You know what? The county, when I came on, they would pick up your spouse and your minor kids. They stopped doing that now. When you retire, it just covers you, and you got to fork out for your spouse. So
Yeah, I mean,
things are changing.
I retired from LAPD in 2003, and my wife and I are both covered for medical, and they pay for my Medicare portion from the pension, and so it's a pretty good deal. But not in California. Even I had a friend from Glendale. He retired, and his medical was covered, but his wife was not into retirement. So not even all the California agencies are the same either.
Yeah.
So there. Tell all your friends to come to California, be cops.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey.
They won't be your friends very long if you do
that. That's all the stories that we have, but I want to make mention before we take questions for Dale is remember his book. You can order this book from this broadcast, and it'd be really cool to see somebody click on that thing and then see Dale sell another book from here. But you guys have questions for Dale? Oh, someone scanned the QR code again. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Mike, what else you got? What else you got? Tell me.
I'll be telling you more as time goes on.
As time goes on.
Early next month, I'll be a little chattier. We're gonna be going on an overseas trip, with the wife and I shortly. So when I get back, I'll be flapping my lips more about things.
Wink.
Thangs.
Wink.
We'll never hear me talking about how the last time I kneeled, though. And you'll never hear me talk about the last time that I threw a couple of deputies under the bus to the FBI. You'll never hear me talk about the reasoning why we only got 10% of the bus fleet working. You'll never hear me talking about how we aren't even meeting all our mandatory training dates. So there.
And such.
I could go on, but why bother?
You could go on.
Idea. No, people get the idea.
Dale, do you have any more books coming out?
Actually, well, I don't know.
It's an easy question.
Well, it is, but I wasn't sure. I mean, we haven't said anything about what's going on with this book, right?
No. But I understand you're also working on another a follow-up book, not necessarily damage control, but something else, right?
I am working on another book, kind of to tag onto this book, but it's called. Man, I hate to blow this.
You don't have
Tales,
to.
It's called Tales Over the Hood.
Tales,
and it's just it's just things that guys talk about when they're eating lunch or when they get together, um, and the stories that get told and how they change, how they go from one guy being the hero to the next guy being the hero, depending on who's doing the talking. And I think it's going to be a pretty good book. There's some interesting stories. Most all of them are things that I was involved in at one time or another. Tales over the hood.
Tales over the hood. Stand by. And I don't know what this means, Mike or Dale. Is there a secret joke that I'm not?
You guys, Dale, you and GJ have some kind of a secret deal working?
I don't know. I'm afraid to share an office with them. I've already got Mike.
Why aren't you guys nice to GJ, man?
I like GJ, actually.
GJ's cool, man. What's happening with this, Dale? Any Kindle copies of it?
Yeah, you can get if you go online, Amazon, you can get it on Kindle.
Yeah,
paperback, hardback, Kindle.
He's available in all formats.
Right, and like I said, if they do for some reason want a signed copy, I have both hard copy and paperbacks here. They can get me at Hedges Dale. Just reverse my name, Hedges Dale at yahoo.com, and we'll work it out.
That's gonna be cool.
I appreciate it because I have surprisingly I'm not an author, to be honest with you. So Mike kind of pushed me to write this book, which is I'm actually glad he did. Now I lived with the story in this book for 30 years, and it just literally haunted me. I couldn't get it out of my head, and it's kind of been almost therapeutic to finally get rid of it and put it out there. And really what you find out is there's still things going on within the department and within the upper ranks of the department where they're still trying to hide their mistakes. They're not willing. I mean, if you do look, if Luna called the troops out on Trevor Kirk, admit it, man up, say you did it. Don't lie to people and tell them, try to cover your tracks, because shit, we all know.
Yeah,
we all know. I've lost a lot of respect. I'm looking forward for a new sheriff. I'm looking forward for an insider that cares about the department, not about his position on the department. And that's what the county needs. I love the department. Every day that I went to work, I love my job. But the management in the department clearly needs a shakeup.
Top to bottom, yep.
Exactly.
Well, that's all I got for stories. And Mike, you got anything?
No, I guess we'll be figuring out our schedule here for podcast in the future. There's a few things going on that might preclude us from being at our normal time slot, but stick with us. We'll be around. Yeah.
So we don't have a set schedule right now. We're kind of playing it by ear, but stand by. We got some programming changes coming up, and that's about it. That's all I got.
Look at Zippy. She's right, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Dale, as a matter of fact, have you made that follow-up phone call that you're supposed to make?
I have not yet. I was going to do it this week.
Yeah, I think you need to. Let's push that forward if we can. Zippy's right. I think that'd be a pretty cool movie. A lot of intrigue. You know what? And the truth is stranger than fiction, right? I mean, the crazy shit that you've gone through over the course of your life.
What a time to cut out right when that happened.
You cut out. Right. Yeah, we were fine. Yeah. Zippy's right. Zippy's always right.
I do like it. that because of my interweb, my internet connection, and then Mike will see that and he'll just he'll keep going, keep the show going, and everybody knows I'm going to show back up at some point. So that's
Show
cool.
must go on, man.
The show must go on. I appreciate you guys' patience, and well, in these rural areas, we whatever internets we got, but I'm excited. A year from now, a year and a half from now, I'm going to be smoking hot internet, smoking hot fiber.
That's actually pretty sad when you think about it. That's your goal in the next year and a half is to get smoking hot fiber.
Well, the only time it bothers me is when I do some kind of live thing, and it's not made for that really, but it works. It works. It's worked all this time with us, so no complaints there.
Yeah, I'm happy with mine. That's for sure.
Yeah, and yours doesn't. You must have a super clear thing in the sky or something, because I've never seen you cut out.
Yeah.
Yes, mine is Starlink. Exactly.
Yeah, so is mine, Bert. I've got clear sky over me. I don't know what he's got around his place.
Yeah, I've got some trees, so it's pretty decent. I mean, I get 200 and something download, but it's just for lives. That if the satellites are changing hands, you're gonna get a little dip there, and it doesn't work when you're live, because like Netflix and stuff like that, they buffer content. So if it goes out, all it does is reconnect, and you already have stuff in there. Not so when you're live.
Yeah. So I've never been able to figure that electrical crap out. That's for sure.
Well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a Ken Talk.
It's a Ken Talk. And don't forget, you guys, it's very important that you subscribe. Everybody right now, there's 21 people watching from the Watch Commander, 1019, the Watch Commander channel. Every one of you 21 people, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. So Mike.
Yeah, and you guys that are just watching without logging on, come on, log on and subscribe.
Log on and subscribe. Look at Mike's face. Oh, come on, you guys. Look at
and you know what? I'd appreciate it. Look me up on Instagram, Mike Bornman. Look me up on X, Captain Mike, and follow me. There might be a reason to.
Follow, please, guys. Let's see let's see what these comments are looking at. The trees will kill you on live. This is true. And sometimes it's worse than others. That's true. What happened with the police applicant podcast interviews, Edward? I need more information on that. As far as what interviews you mean, like police applicant specific interviews, we're going to be coming up with some stuff with that. But I think that's what he means. Yeah. So, anyways, thank you, everybody. We're kind of keep looking for the channel to see when there's going to be lives coming up, because we don't have a set schedule right now. There's all kinds of things in flux, right? And so when we know, you will know, right, Mike?
Thank you for having me.
Dale, thanks a lot for coming. Everybody go buy Dale's book, make him a multi-millionaire author, and all that. Yes, Edward, I have new stuff coming up, so I'll be posting that. And Kevin Kazantzis.
Thank you, Kevin. Dale, don't hang up on me. Don't hang up, Dale. Stay online.
Stay online. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
Okay, show's over.